afternoon. Before I begin my speech, I'd like to first start off with a small activity. So who have ever heard or used terms like eat, bussin', lit, chuggy, or Gucci? These words are often used by teenagers these days. And even as a teenager, I did not know half of these words before I did some research to prepare for this TEDx talk. There are even online dictionaries that are dedicated to explain the meaning of these words. And isn't it just shocking by thinking of using a dictionary when you're trying to have a conversation with your friend? So, how should we stay alert in this fast-changing world? By going over different industrial revolutions, people have faced different changes. Changes in ideology, technology, lifestyle, and food and clothes. These changes have made remarkable developments. As I go through and experience these kind of changes, I realize that these changes are happening quite frequently, and it's hard to catch up. There is a term called trend. Within areas like fashions, lifestyle, and food, bloggers and commentaries often use the word trend to advertise and implant brands into people's mind. And unlike the purpose of the marketing by using the trend, people have difficulty catching up with those fast-changing trends. So, for example, a teenage girl bought a polka dot shirt, and she's delighted because she's finally up to date. However, she finds out the next day her friends have moved on to the striped shirts, and this is just simply mental. People are very sensitive towards the issues related to the trend. They may even call people freaks or outsiders when they do not follow or catch up with those trends. Then is it a good thing to get those people aside and just focus on the people who are actually focusing and keep on with those trends? As a student and a citizen who's living the storm of changes, I think we should trying to live in a society where people can actually get used to those trends. And I would like to suggest several examples and why and how we should develop the society. Within 5 W's and 1 H, I really like 2 words, why and how. It allows me to have an opportunity to think deeply, inquire into topics which I investigate and research about. First of all, I would like to talk about why is society putting a lot of time and money to develop our society. I think the society is trying to develop in order to enhance our quality of our life. Indeed, we're living in a very flourished life where people actually have people from 10 years ago wouldn't dare to think of. Like watching YouTube online or testing messages to your friends by using social media. But seriously, people have made remarkable changes. However, I think they're kind of missing something. Even though the development aiming to influence and enhance our quality of our life, day by day, rich people are getting richer and poor people are getting poor, and then it is hard, and people who do not catch up with those trends and fast changes are often left behind. Let me give an example from my father. My father once came up to me and said the times when he was young, the times when he had to use slow internets and had to use different devices rather than a smartphone to communicate with his friend. Then when he first talked about the times when he first went to his college, he was hearing things that was all ancient. This is very fascinating because the times which my father went to his first college was just around 25 years ago, and we still have different barriers and different understanding of the world. So, is this a good phenomenon? I do not think this is a good phenomenon, and it is actually degrading and making our initial goal of our society more cloudy. So we should be thinking about how to develop our society and how to break those barriers and develop our society as it's meant to be. There are different changes that are currently happening around the world. For example, retro. Retro is a type of trend that has become a huge boom recently. Retro simply means offering old stuff to the people so that elders can feel nostalgia, young generations can feel something new by experiencing things which their parents' generation had experienced. So let me give you 2 examples to explain this term. The first example is Korean traditional game. So who have ever watched Squid Game in this room? I really liked the drama even though it was R-rated. There are different games that participants had to play in this drama. Oh, and in fact, these games were actually played by my parents' generations, even though it wasn't death-threatening. These games have become a huge boom and is played by people online and even in Olympic villages. This is a typical example where media can be very influential and can gather people around and give a positive example of a retro trend. The second example is bell-bottom pants. Bell-bottom pants are a type of pants that was famous around 1970s in Europe and America. These bell-bottom pants are actually consumed by people these days. Isn't it just fascinating to see how people from different generations are appealing to the same type of trend that has been a very huge boom in 1970s? And how this trend is managed to circle around and how it managed to appeal to everyone. So how is this linked to the how part of making our society? I think the key concept of this type of trend is it tries to gather all people around. And it encourages people to experience different things that their different generation had experienced. And this is the way in which the society and countries and people should work on to make an environment. By doing so, people can build more unite and build strong bonds between generations and people can easily rely and trust on each other. I'm not disagreeing on the point where society should keep on developing and achieve great developments. I'm just trying to say that we need to first make an environment where people can actually easily catch up with those trends and not feel left out. Why don't we just take a breath? People are feared and hesitating to join this fast-changing world. Day by day, globalization is happening and the world is becoming one. Different people from different cultures are gathering. So we should make the environment which people can easily get used to those changes. People build generation barriers between different peoples and they separate each other even on small topics. So we should be thinking of why we're developing the society rather than how much and how far we can reach them. So before going on to the next chapter of our society, I think I want people in this room to think about why we should develop our society and who it is for. Thank you.